Welcome to DungeonFab, the newest solution to TTRPG terrain tiles. This video will cover printing the files and basic assembly. To start things off, all DungeonFab files are already oriented and print without support. Before importing any files into your slicer, go ahead and turn off auto-orienting options. Next, the tiles were designed to print without issue on Cura slicers, as it's the most common new 3D slicer that users start out with for FDM machines. The tiles have found to work with little to no changes made to machine and filament settings in Orca Slicer and Prusa Slicer as well. You may ultimately have to change speed settings and wall thickness if you find that anything has a rough fit. You'll also want to make sure that your printer has its E-steps and flow rate calibrated properly too. The tiles are meant to be printed at a 0.2mm layer height, with a 15 to 20% infill. You can change this if you find other settings work better for load-bearing parts, but we haven't found that to be necessary for our small to medium-sized builds yet. Next, make sure your support material is off and import your files. Once you have everything you want to print ready, go ahead and slice the work area and send it to your printer. Now that you have some physical tiles in your hands, let's show you how to get started with them. First, it's a good idea to figure out what you want to build. The tiles work on a grid system, which means that you can use grid paper to easily design the terrain or buildings that you want to assemble. In this case, we'll be building a small stone building with a tower on one of the corners. You'll need to use the various bases to build certain things. The standard tile is a 2x2 square. It can be used to make the bulk of your designs. 1x1 tiles can help you fill in those awkward gaps, and round or diagonal bases can add complex geometry to your build. When connecting your bases, lay them on a flat surface, then hold them on top and snap them together. Be careful not to let the tiles bow up when connecting them, as that can damage the connectors. You should avoid connecting the bases on anything other than a flat surface. Once the floor is built, we need to add wall connectors. These connectors do two things. They hide the prongs that are on the outside of the build, and allow you to add walls to the outside of your floor to create external walls. You can use the standard wall connector to have a near seamless edge all across your wall, and internal wall connectors to build inward-facing corners. We also have one wide version of each of these connectors to get down into the finer details. Round and diagonal floors have built-in wall connectors, so you don't have to worry about adding any to those pieces. Next, we'll add our walls. The standard and one-wide walls can fit between any square on the grid. The diagonal walls are inserted between the corners of the grid. The curved wall has two prongs that are inserted into the same slots as the standard and one-wide walls, and it may be a bit tricky to align those properly. Once you have your external walls, you can go ahead and add some internal rooms. You may find you have issues with walls not fitting between others, preventing some rooms being made. The fix for this is the slightly short dot walls. These walls are identified not only by their shorter width, but also by the dot on the top of them, hence the name. These can be used for internal room building, and should help you build whatever room layout you choose. There we go. Now with the skeleton of our building made, we need to add some details to bring it to life. The DungeonFab system comes with slip-on accessories like doors and windows. These accessories can turn any wall into a door frame, giving you full customization of your terrain. We also have curved versions for our rounded tiles. You'll notice that these accessories add a little bit of height to the walls. With slip-on accessories, the walls will be as tall as the pillars that come with each set. Use pillars to add support for large floors, or for floors that are too heavy and start to sag. Now for this build, we're going to be adding multi-floor braces to the walls. These braces slip on top of the walls, and we'll need this upward-facing tab to be on the outside of the wall. With a few of these scattered around the outside of your walls, you can keep secondary floors from sliding and moving about. This can help with transport, or just moving the build from storage out onto the gaming field. In regards to multi-floor support, the DungeonFab system also comes with bases that have cutouts, ladders, and stairs. These extra pieces should help you have more creative freedom with your builds. Next up is the scatter terrain. Textured sets come with a folder of at least 14 different files that all print without support and are pre-oriented. From beds to coffins, fireplaces to barrels, add whatever you deem fit to bring your build to life. And that's it for the basics of building. Check out patreon.com/DungeonFab for the latest updates. The shop has sets for personal use, and the tiers are for commercial sellers. Thanks for watching, and happy building!